We're back on the roof, and I'm joined by Anderson .Paak, an artist working with a coalition of people on criminal justice reform. His new album is Oxnard.
Yeah!
Great to have you. You've worked with people like Kendrick Lamar and Dr. Dre. Thanks for being here on the roof.
Yes, Lord!
It's a little cold. You got the right jacket.
I'm out here, man.
You're doing this criminal justice work. Why is this important to you?
Oh, man, it's hugely important to me. It affected my family. It affected my mom. My mom did 7.5 years. You know, my pops did 14 years. There's millions of people that shouldn't be in prison doing a lot of years that they shouldn't be doing. And because there's no attention being put on the topic. So anything I could do to help, you know, as a musician, even if it's just offering my time, showing up to the title thing and playing a show, I'm down for it.
Yeah. And you've got success now. You're working with some of the biggest acts. You were homeless for a time.
Yeah.
How did that affect you?
It just gave me the chops that I needed, you know, gave me a story. Like, it's dope that nothing happened super overnight for me, because I would have probably be a real jackass and not know how to appreciate things when I get them. Honestly, I feel the music more. People that, you know, have more of a story.
Maxine Waters, who's a Democrat, has a bill that would give more funding to emergency rental units to homeless families, try to get the kids off the street. Do you think it's important that we see people who happen to be homeless as people?
Yeah, I think it's got to put money into, you know, mental illness, you know, things that start before, you know, you're actually homeless. What happens before that, you know? There's nobody to really put enough attention to what they have going on mentally. So I think, you know, investing into that, you know, is a good thing, you know?
You got the video for the season, Carry Me the Waters.
Yeah.
We basically see Donald Trump come up out of a pile of trash.
Yeah.
What are you saying
the
there?
Trump monster. I'm just trolling like how he trolls. He's one of the best trollers, so why can't we troll him back? You know, like, that's all it was, man. He's funny looking and he does like horrible things, so it's like, you know, I feel like, why not troll him back?
Now, Trump's tax cut, 83% of the benefits go to the wealthiest people.
Right.
That might benefit you and some of the people you're working with.
It's crazy because, at this stage I'm at now, it's like, damn, some of the things that he does, it actually benefits me because I'm in a different tax bracket now. And it's like, but that still don't mean, you know what I'm saying? It's still like a lot of other people that's not living that way, you know what I'm saying?
Would you trade your tax cut back to get rid of Trump?
Hell nah. But I will definitely, you know, do what I can to, like, you know, support the people that are on that other side of the fence. You know, there's a lot of different things that he is supporting that I'm not with, you know?
I think it's fair to say, well, you've overcome more than not just the typical musician. You've overcome more than a lot of people ever have to deal with. And so it's interesting that you say, I can do anything but move backwards. The hardest thing is to keep from being distracted.
Yeah.
What's that mean?
Man, just staying out of trouble, man. You know, getting caught up. You just got to stay focused and just, like, stay on the path of what makes you happy and what keeps you building, you know?
One thing about hip hop is it's always exploring historic influences. And so Wu-Tang were into the Kung Fu films.
Yeah.
Scarface was into the movie Scarface.
Yeah.
You're really into all these old surfer movies and surfer culture.
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
I'm from Ventura County. I'm from Oxnard. Some of the best surfers, some of the best skaters, you know? It's just the environment I was from. And I wanted to bring people into that environment with the music. Surfing is such a, like, I think it just goes so hand in hand with life, you know? It's the hardest thing to catch a wave. That's life, man.
That's life.
Some people go down every time, but, you know, get back up, get on that. And then if you catch one, you just ride it out, enjoy it, you know? So it's like, that's like catching a hit record, you know what I'm saying?
Anderson .Paak, thanks for coming through.
Yes, Lord. Thank you, bro.
Thank you.
Hey, I'm Ari Melber from MSNBC. You can see more of our videos right here, or better yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel below. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that.